In a time when muscle cars were becoming as extinct as the dinosaur, Pontiac did the unthinkable and unleashed the Super Duty on the buying public. The Firebird and Trans Am Super Duty were truly the muscle car's last hurrah. Pontiac Firebird, 1973. For 1973, Pontiac introduced a version of the 455 cubic inch V8 called the Super Duty or SD 455. This engine was hand-built with a heavy-duty block, forged aluminum flat-top pistons, and Rochester 800 CFM 4-barrel carburetor. The engine was rated at 290 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute in 390 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 revolutions per minute. Today, these numbers may sound minuscule, but in 1973, this was top-shelf muscle. Car and Driver tested a 1973 Super Duty Trans Am for their May 1973 issue. With a 3-speed automatic, they were able to run from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds and dash the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds at 103.6 miles per hour. Compared to the 1973 Chevrolet Corvette LS4 454 with the Turbo Hydromatic, the Super Duty was 1 second faster from 0 to 60 and 0.9 seconds faster in the quarter mile. Engine among the most legendary of engines Pontiac ever designed for the street, the SD 455 shared many dimensions and capacities with similar vintage standard 455 and 455 HO engines, such as the 4.50 by 4.12-inch bore and stroke. But the SD carried many unique parts, including all of the major castings and internal components. With experience gleaned from racing in the SCCA Trans Am series, Pontiac engineers addressed virtually every weakness when they developed the SD 455. The blocks, which should wear ZJ or W8 casting codes for manual transmission cars and XD or I8 for automatics, featured thick webbing between the lifter bores, thicker main bearing bulkheads, additional material for the motor mount bosses, an oversized distributor hole, which requires a unique to the SD sleeve distributor, and provisions for a dry sump oiling system. 4-bolt main bearing caps were made from malleable iron instead of ductile iron. Pontiac went full tilt on the internal moving components as well. They chose shot-peened, Magnafluxed 5000, 140 forged steel connecting rods with 7 16-inch bolts, beefier than the standard Pontiac 3 8-inch bolts, connected to TR2 forged flat-top aluminum pistons. Although compression was an emissions-compliant 8.41, Pontiac engineers were able to make a lot of gains with the extremely flow-friendly heads, which should wear casting 16. The round port heads, standard 455s used D-port heads in 1973 and 1974, carried 2.11-inch intake valves and unique 1.77-inch exhaust valves made of Inconel, a heat-resistant, high-tech alloy. Pontiac Firebird, 1974. Curb weights rose dramatically in the 1974 model year because of the implementation of 5 miles per hour, 8.0 kilometers per hour, telescoping bumpers, and various other crash and safety-related structural enhancements. SD 455 Trans Ams weighed in at 3,850 pounds, 1,746 kilograms, in their first year of production, 1974 model year. Actually 1973. The 1974 models featured a redesigned shovel nose front end and new wide slotted taillights. The 400, 455, and SD 455 engines were offered in the Trans Am and Formula models during 1974. A June 1974 test of a newly delivered, privately owned SD 455 Trans Am. This appeared in Superstock and Drag Illustrated. With an unmodified car and a test weight of 4,010 pounds, the testers clocked 14.25 seconds at 101 miles per hour. The car had an automatic and AC. Also, the factory rating of 290 horsepower was listed at 4,400 revolutions per minute, while the factory tachometer has a 5,750 revolutions per minute red line. A production line stock 1974 SD 455 produced 253 rear-wheel horsepower on a chassis dyno, as reported by High Performance Pontiac magazine, January 2007. Pontiac FIREBIRD, 1975. The 1975 models featured new wraparound rear windows that curved out to occupy more of the B-pillars, but the rear body shape and bumper remained unchanged. The turn signals were moved up from the valance panel to the grills, which helped distinguish the 1975 from the 1974 front end, as they are otherwise similar. This was also the last year of the larger profile, larger snout Formula hood for the FIREBIRD formula. The Super Duty engine and turbo-hydromatic 403-speed automatic were no longer available in 1975. Due to the use of catalytic converters starting in 1975, the TH400 would not fit alongside the catalytic converter underneath the vehicle. The smaller turbo-hydromatic 350 automatic was deemed suitable as the power output for the engine had significantly decreased from the earlier years. TH350 drew less power and also did not require an electronic kickdown system. The Pontiac L78-400 was standard in the Trans Am, and the 455 was optional for both 1975 and 1976 models. Pontiac FIREBIRD, 1976. 1976 saw a revision to the design and had done away with the rubber bumperettes on the front and back bumpers. Instead, the body featured a sleeker design with polyurethane front and rear bumpers that adhered to the safety standards at the time. The interior design was unchanged for the standard interior. However, the deluxe interior seats had changed to feature larger and deeper buckets. The engine options across the FIREBIRD remained the same as the previous year. This was the last year for the optional 15x7 honeycomb wheels. 1976 marked the end of the Pontiac L75 7.5 liters 455 V8, as it could no longer meet the tightening emissions restrictions, and the Ho moniker used the year prior it was dropped. The L75 was only available with a 4-speed manual Borg-Warner Super T10 and was exclusive to the Trans Am. 1976 also introduced the Daewoo 50 appearance package for the Formula model line, consisting of a two-tone appearance package with lower accents across the bottom of the body, a large Formula decal across the bottom of each door, and a FIREBIRD decal on the rear spoiler. The Formula had a 1-year exclusive steel hood design with smaller recessed, less pronounced hood snorkels. Pontiac FIREBIRD, 1976. The 1977 FIREBIRD received a facelift that featured 4 rectangular headlamps. The shaker scoop was also revised for this year, with the early 1977 built TAs coming with off-center, lower-profile shaker scoops. The Formula hood was changed for the last time for the second generation with a much lower profile. The snowflake wheel became an option for all FIREBIRDs and was standard with the I-82 appearance package, although it could be replaced with Rally 2 wheels as a credit option. For the Esprit, an optional appearance package RPOW60 called the Skybird Appearance Package became available, featuring an all-blue exterior and interior. This package was originally slated to be called the Bluebird, similar to the Yellowbird, and Redbird packages to follow in the upcoming model years, but the name was already in use for a company that produced school buses. From 1977 to 1981, the FIREBIRD used 4 square headlamps, while the Camaro continued to retain the 2 round headlights that had been shared by both second-generation designs. The 1977 Trans Am Special Edition became famous after being featured in Smokey and the Bandit. The 1980 Turbo model was used for Smokey and the Bandit too. Well, that's it for today's video. We hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one.